But I want to ask two questions that relate to coordination. General Stewart, good to see you again. Last time you and I saw each other, you were at the National Air and Space Intelligence Center in my district at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Thank you for being there. My concern on the first question on the issue of coordination is with respect to ISIL. And following on Mr. Swalwell's question, we have the director of the FBI, of course, who's trying to ensure that where we have ISIL, who's using social media to recruit individuals, that he find those individuals in the United States and thwart their opportunity or their planned attacks. But of course, obviously with DOD, their goal is to find these individuals and bring justice to them so we neutralize the threat as they continue to operate. ISIL's use of personnel, trying to target military personnel and also facilities through social media is of a concern, of course, across the country and in my own community at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, even if public events have been canceled. But when it goes to bringing justice to that individual that's not in the United States, the director of FBI is not involved, the DOD is, and coordination is an issue. And I'd like, General, if you could speak a moment about the issue of the concern of our ability to bring justice to them and what our progress might be there. And the second issue is with respect to the Office of Personnel Management. Again, back to the National Air and Space Intelligence Center, I have thousands of individuals in my community at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base that are very concerned about the data breach, specifically with the SF-86 submission and the information that's contained in there. Director Clapper, you mentioned that there are personal effects both on that could be damaging on financial information, actions that could be taken to them individually. It also includes their families. But you've got the next layer of then what happens with our national effectiveness as that information is compromised. And I'd like, if you could speak for a moment on the issue of coordination, of that you're all dependent upon OPM to protect the information of the people that allow your agencies to be effective and to function. General?
Congressman, the DIA enterprise extends not just here in Washington, but down to the combatant commands, to the service intelligence centers, and out to the forces that are on the ground in respective AOR. We coordinate daily on activities that we see across that entire spectrum of the enterprise. So we're in contact with the services, we're in contact with the combatant commands, we're in contact with our analysts here at our regional intel centers to make sure that we get the best characterization of the threat, best characterization of what they're capable of, and more importantly, if we can target them, how do we get that targeting data down to those forces that can, in a kinetic way, in a combat way, bring justice to these forces, to our adversary. And so I feel very comfortable that we are talking. So not only are we talking to those units below us, but we're also talking laterally. None of what I can do at DIA can be done without the efforts of NSA or the things that are being done at CIA. So we bring all sources of information together, package that to all our consumers from the national level all the way down to our forces on the ground, and then we hopefully can bring that targetable information that will strike those actors in a very kinetic way.
And then, Director Clapper, on the issue of also personal risk, it also includes the professional risk of the danger of this information being out. If you could speak to that for a moment, knowing that there's thousands of employees who are very concerned about that breach.
Well, that's quite right, sir. There is potentially, and I emphasize the word potentially, great risk. It's certainly in the case of intelligence people, particularly those assigned overseas, and in certain covered categories. That's a great concern of ours. What we have done through the auspices of the National Counterintelligence Security Center is to do as much education as we possibly can on what the potential implications are, both, as I said, institutionally and individually. But at this point, we haven't seen, as we discussed before, actual evidence of the use of any of this data in a nefarious way. I want to ask Director Comey to comment as well.
Yeah, I agree with Director Clapper's characterization. I worry with our workforce, it's been a little confusing that I have talked to my workforce about this, that we've got everybody credit monitoring. That's actually not my worry about this information. I feel like that's buying people flood insurance when their neighborhood just burned down. The fire is what I'm worried about. It's not people's credit cards and their credit rating, given what we think the information was taken for. We've seen no indication of it being used to hit anybody's credit rating or credit accounts. I don't think that's the concern. At the same time, I don't want to put people completely at ease because, as Director Clapper said, there's a significant counterintelligence threat that's associated with someone having this information, a nation state.
Gentleman's time has expired. Gentleman from Ohio, Dr. Winstrup.